Welcome to Boston on the Record with Randy and Shy. Shy, what's going on with you, man? But before I find out what's going on with you, it's time to take a commercial break. Now's the time where we give them the opportunity to subscribe, like, dislike, share, comment, do something to engage with the program so that the channel will grow. We can reach more people. Now back to our regular scheduled program. Shy, what's going on with you? What's on your mind? What you want to get off your mind and put on the record?
Man, Randy, I was sitting over here, man, just contemplating my life, and I was looking at the, TV for a second. I just turned it on, and I saw emergency, and the very first thing I was thinking about emergency, I knew there was an emergency that happened over the weekend, and I was like, "Damn, they're right." That Keith Thurman versus Fundora fight. They had emergencies stop it according to Thomas Taylor and everything. Keith was looking too horrible in there. Wasn't no need to say anymore. Champ, show me something. It was just literally like it's time to stop. So I definitely want to go in about that. As you know, 154-pound champion Sebastian Fundora fought against Keith Thurman this past weekend. This is Keith Thurman's comeback. They was actually supposed to fight last year, and then Fundora hurt his hands, and so that fight was delayed. Then they came back. They did the fight, whatever, postponed it until now, and they finally fought. And Keith has, one thing about Keith is he can pub a fight up. He's very good. I like him as a boxing intellectual. He can say everything he needs to say without using any kind of off words and everything. He's very thorough. He's very passionate about it. He's a good philosopher. He does know the game. Fundora's an up and coming cat. I've always told you the best person in that family to me that boxers is a sister. But I do think that in this performance he may have surpassed her sister a little bit because I did her last opponent, her last fight. I wasn't as impressed. Uh, Her mistakes were standing a lot more visible, and I felt the higher the challenges, the more that those flaws will be exposed. And those are just fundamental things that I personally believe are a part of training camp that need to be adjusted. And that happens a lot, especially when you're beating a lot of people and you have certain skills, especially on the female side. But on the male side, Fundor had many mistakes, flaws. One of the biggest ones is what a lot of these tall fighters had, which is what Lennox Lewis had, is giving up his height and fighting, being an inside fighter. There's no need to do that when you have such a long reach. You can make the fight so easy. The Klitschko's did that. But one thing that does separate Sebastian a little bit from those other guys who are bigger, not just the weight division, but the fact that he actually can fight on the inside. He's not the best inside fighter by no means, but he definitely can fight on the inside. It's almost as if that's how he was literally trained to fight on the inside first as an inside boxer, and then started learning these other things. So that was one of my issues I had with him, and I felt if he learned to use his height, he could fight a lot better. So, anyways, in this Keith Thurman fight, Keith Thurman being washed up, 176 years old, coming into this fight, he looked like he was an old man. He looked like he had ring rust. He looked like he was off putting. Um, it was for me. It was really hard to see that he still had a certain amount of talent. I really like Keith. We always know he was weak to the belly. He's always can't figure that out. But he was such a great boxer. I mean, he fought like old school boxers did, fought in rhythm. He would move and fight off of that rhythm he was producing, and that he was evolved in. He would fight like that, and he was just such an excellent mover. He was in good shape. Here, he just looked like an old tubalard out here, just trying to look for a chance, trying to find a way. And a lot of that has to do with age because you don't have those fast twitch muscles anymore. And you're fighting a guy that's like damn near, a whole feet and change bigger than you and everything. It does require a lot more athleticism, requires a lot more fast twitch muscles, a lot more reflexes because you have to do like old school Mike Tyson did with his original peekaboo defense where you jump inside, jump out, and that requires a lot of athleticism, a lot of reflexes. But if your legs have slowed down, you don't have those fast twitch muscles anymore. You can't bob and weave as much as you did. You had all these kind of injuries. Your rhythm is going to be off. Your jumping in is going to be off, and you're going to be quote unquote looking for opportunity. Never seen Keith Thurman marked up that much before, ever. And he definitely was focusing on the head a lot, which is going to be even harder to try to create an opening. You focus. I mean, yeah, I can see throwaway punches to the head, but you're focusing on the body. That's where you're trying to hit hard. And he just couldn't. It's like he couldn't even time Fundora's footwork. it was hard for him to even create foot feints and do foot teases and outside angles with the feet and throw people off. That comes with smooth footwork because his feet look so heavy, and he looked heavy, and he was just literally going off of like a winner's chance. I'm gonna throw a hail mary and see what can win. So that's what I saw in that fight. It was no surprise that he was going to lose. I don't know anybody that had him winning, but I actually felt that he would get knocked out sooner, in round four as opposed to round six. And I did not base that off of his skill. I based that off of just his inactivity and him having gained weight and just not being in the ring for a long time. I think he's only fought two times in the last 3, 4, 5 years. And so that does create a huge difference. And sparring does not help you with literally fighting in matches where Fundora has been fighting. He's had a chance to perfect. And what I liked about Fundora was that he has improved on his long distance, his mid-range long distance fighting style, where he doesn't have to come in all the time anymore. He can set you up on the outside and create these different holes in the outside, bait you in to these different punches. And I saw him doing a lot of that with Keith. Again, that's an old man, but it shows me what he's working on and what he's attempting to improve. Talk to me, Randy. What you got for me?
I ain't really got nothing, man. I hadn't talked to you in a while. I just wanted to hear you chop it up. I know you ain't have time because you got a lot on your plate right now. But I just said to myself, I said I'm gonna let Shy get it off his mind and put it on the record today. But I do have a couple of questions for you, and then I'll say something at the end, and we'll end it. But do you think uh Fundora looked good due to his opponent, or do you think he's actually gotten better?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, and I'm going to say it's a combination of them both. I think much of it looking good definitely had to do with the opponent, so I'll probably get a slight edge there. But there are some fundamental things that he has changed. And I would say that seeing him fight someone that was younger and more like in the prime, able to move, it would be a lot harder to see those little changes. I would still see them, but they wouldn't be as prominent as they were with him fighting against the older guys. So yes, I think it's both, but much of it being able to see it blatantly, like it's in slow motion, had to do with his opponent. It didn't just have to do with his opponent being old. It also had to do with his opponent being out of the ring for such a long time. So his opponent didn't have the proper rhythm, didn't know necessarily how to move, couldn't move as much. And then when he tried to move, his age set in as well. So I think that all those things were a combination to make him look. But there was nothing phenomenal that Fundora did that was like, oh my God, he's back, he's the greatest. No. If it goes that way, I will 100% say it's because your opponent. But I will say you have improved on a few things.
One more for you, and then I'm say what I got to say, and then we'll end it. I noticed you said we noticed that he's using his height now because we know he used to give up his height. He's let him in like a thief in the night. But now he can keep him out. He can punch on the inside also, and he can actually hit at right distance. So he did improve on that. He got a little ring uh, generalship about himself now, a little more than he did. But the question I have for you is, do you think with him improving on that, will he be able to dominate the 54 division, or you could see somebody dethroning them, or he'll be like the Klitschko? They were just too big and too tall for anybody because they weren't really that great. I mean, I know it ain't about them, but they were just too big and too tall at the time for anybody to deal with them. What you think on Fedora?
Excellent
Will he be
question,
able to
bro.
dominate?
And this is something that it causes me problems sleeping at night. It really does. It really does, man. And then when I think about it during the day, it gives me diarrhea. So I don't know, man. I mean, this is it's really hard for me, man. I've been taking this stuff seriously, baby. But bro, I mean, if he really works on that and gets talented, man, he's unstoppable at 54. I gotta say that. And the most talented guy at 54 is Boots for me. I can't even see him if he gets this down. If he works this right, I hate to say it, I can't see Boots beating him with all of his talents. If Fundora learns how to use this right, he's still training, he's still learning. So right now, I'm saying he's still beatable. But once he gets that down, bro, it is going dude, he dominates, bro. He dominates for real, for real. And to even go further. Well, I mean, because we have to see, because it's a changing of guard going now. So I don't really want to speak about all these older guys. Even Boots is getting older, but all these older guys that we know, in certain divisions, they're aging out. They're going to be aging out. These cats like Bevo, Berturbia, and all this stuff. By the time that Fundora gets there, those cats technically should not be there. Um, by the time he gets there, all right. But right now, where he's at and who he has to fight in his division, he does get trouble. Well, I don't want to say trouble, but he has to develop a legitimate game plan to fight against a couple of the topper cats, Boots being one of them. At 160, I don't see much happening. Uh, 68, if Benavides, he's at 75. If he comes back down to 68, because Benavides is only like 6'2", this dude's 6'5", so it's only 3-inch difference. I think that there could be some kind of clash there between the two. And it would just be like this lanky, praying mantis, versus the Mexican monster, to see that with his vibes and all that stuff. But Benavides is getting better as well. And Benavides, his footwork is bad, and standing straight up is bad, and doing all those type of things. He does those unorthodox things that Roy Jones was able to get away with. But if Fundora literally masters all this, because he's younger than Benavides, he masters all of this and ends up in a position where him and Benavides can fight. I think that would be an amazing fight. That would be a great fight, and it'd be kind of a pick 'em type of thing. But if he masters it, I would possibly lean towards Fundora, but it just has to see how he masters that. I'm a cat about using your talents, fighting off that reach, keeping people at the end of that jab. He has such 80 something inch reach, man. That is crazy, to have, and to be able to keep someone at the end of that and you still popping your punches. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, baby.
I don't know. Maybe it's me, but I don't think Fundora is going to get too much higher than 54. I'm not looking for him to go past 68. Um, and maybe it's just me. And the reason why I say that is because I think the way his frame is made. A lot of people, say he need to move up because he's tall. You know what I mean? But I don't think his body would take it. I don't think so. And then I could be dead wrong. He might be starving himself to death to make weight. I don't know. But just looking at him, he just looked like his body not made for weight. You know what I mean? And then if he did move up, it'll be a disaster because it slows down, timing and all that goes away. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know. It remains to be seen. That's just my observation of it. And then everybody had their own opinion, every thought, but that's just mine. But what I do want to say is um Keith Thurman coming in on that fight, man. He was in shape, but he just wasn't in shape for these guys, man. He was in shape for old man. I mean, he was in shape by like Mike Tyson was in shape for Jake Paul. Like he was in the best shape he can get in due to the inactivity and the age on him. And I mean, because granted, when you're an active boxer, you look at being in shape totally different. You're more conscious of being in shape. When you're not active, then you just going by the gym, jump rope, shadow boxing, just little odds and ends. You still feel like you're in shape because you still a little quick. Uh, Floyd Mayweather Senior thought he could still do what he did. You know what I mean? Because you can hit a few hands or whatever the case may be. But uh when you actually an active boxer, you go a little more further. You go that extra mile. You actually running 10 miles instead of 3 because you're an active boxer. So I think he was in the best possible shape he could have been in, um with considering the age and inactivity. But when I looked at him, man, I promise you, when I looked at him coming in the ring, I was like, oh Lord, oh Lord, he's not in shape. I mean, he's in shape the best he can be, but I'm like, he's not in boxing shape. He's not in shape to compete with this boy. Uh, so that was just my thought on it. That's my thought on it. So what you got?
No, I totally agree with everything you said, and yeah, especially with the Keith Thurman. He had to take the fight because his family need money. Let's just say that. I rarely say this about people, but that's what that is. It was, to me, it was never going to be a competitive fight. but a brother needed to eat, so that's just what it is. He got the opportunity in the story, keep it moving. I think after his ego settles down, he stops jabbing. He'll start hugging Sebastian and taking him out on fishing trips and everything, because this is the man that helped me get get me money back in the house, and my wife wouldn't kick me out, everything, and that's just what it is. And he took it. I could have, because he really could have got hurt, man, in there, especially where his face was marked up. He could have got hurt. I'm not even going to go to somebody's, loading their wraps and everything. It's not even necessary, man. It's just the fact that
He
the
was there to
dude
get
got,
hit. He was there to get
yeah,
hit
it's
all
just what
night.
it is. This is a tall kid. About the frame stuff, right now, in my opinion, Fundora definitely can't go up in any weight division. I'm speaking more about as they get older. People start getting older, the body starts filling out, and all these things. The weight starts coming like, you can't make that weight anymore. So I was just thinking in those regards, if he starts going up, not now, because he can't go up right now, but if he starts like getting bigger and bigger and he can't make things, he may get up to 68. Then that's who you have up there, is those different kids. But again, Floyd Mayweather's body started filling out, even though he's smaller, and he still couldn't make 54. Until this day, he probably still can't make 54.
I was
He
just
was
gonna say he probably in 54 now. He probably can't make it now.
yeah. And so it's just how it goes, man. But I will say though, um, if he stays at 54, let's just say he stays at 54, there's still cats who are in the boxing arena that can eventually come up there. You see what I'm saying? So we do have, Abdullah Mason type of kids and all those type of cats, when their bodies start filling out, because they're only at 130, 135, they start getting bigger and bigger. They can be the cats that, face this kid, and they're all in the same
But I
age.
think they did it.
Mhm.
I'm sorry. I'm
Uh-huh.
sorry. Go
And
ahead.
that's it. That's it. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You go ahead and get off.
No, I just said I was just saying I think the disadvantage to all of them is gonna be that he's so tall. You know what I mean? When you got a guy in there that tall, man, it's kind of hard for the shorter guys to get to him. Like Paul Williams, which was one of my favorite fighters. He was just taller than everybody else, man.
You're
So it
saying
made
the
him a
name
better
wrong,
fighter
man.
than
You're saying his
everybody else.
name wrong. Paul the
Paul the
Punisher.
Punisher Williams.
Come on, baby.
but
Put that
but
punish on his name, baby.
but you know what I mean? And I knew that was a lot of the reason why they couldn't get with him, because he was so tall. He was taller than everybody else. So I think with these guys coming up, man, like I said, I think it's gonna be like a Klitschko thing, man. Like I said earlier, Klitschko wasn't all that great to me, neither one of them. But they were so big and tall that could nobody give them a fair fight. You know what I mean? Like
And remember one thing
I
you
don't
said,
know.
Randy, and I don't
One
mean to
of them
cut
beat
you
the crap out of Shannon though. But go ahead.
off. And a
Let's go,
former,
champ.
let's go. Boy, you a mess. But I don't mean to cut you off. But the one thing that's key that you said is like Klitschko wasn't all that, but he got under Manny Stewart that taught him how to start using that jab and how to fight tall. Same thing he did with Tommy Hearns. Thing about the Punisher is that he started out fighting tall. He was throwing 100 and something jabs around. You know, that was something that nobody was doing, especially nobody his height was doing. This is something that even Sebastian is doing, but if he starts doing it by the time these cats come up, then yeah, everything, I think it all makes sense along with everything saying. But if there's a cat that still hasn't perfected that, and that's the things I'm saying, I see he's working on and trying to get better. Not just even throwing his jab doing that, but he's trying to do certain step around angles where he can still stay at a distance and keep those like long range punches there. That's something that he hadn't done before that others don't do. But that's something that Paul, exactly like you said, Paul the Punisher Williams did. And this is what is that fuels that conspiracy theory that Floyd Mayweather always wanted to stay away from him because they ain't never had a dude that fought out that just jabbed 120 something. And it wasn't even like his jabs were just lightning fast. They just stayed out there, man. And who wants to be getting hit in
Yeah,
the eyeball that many times? And he was only 6'2",
exactly.
something like that. I can't remember how tall he was, but man, that's crazy. And the thing is, it didn't go down. It stayed consistent for the whole 12 rounds. That is what he is known for doing. And that is, if Fundora can fully adopt that, bro, I mean, he's a menace, bro. He's a menace.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah,
straight
yeah,
menace.
yeah. Yeah, I don't really see anybody. I don't see really anybody getting with him. Boots might have a chance, but Boots got probably to me about the same chance everybody else because how much punishment you willing to take to get in there to get it. You know what I'm saying? And then you got to be effective when you get in there. If you ain't effective when you get in there, you just taking punishment for nothing. It's almost like in the wild, you got a giraffe. I mean, one on one, and he there. You know what I'm saying? He probably can kick his way out of it because giraffe got a mean kick. I'm just using that to kind of give you an analogy of what I'm saying. Is it worth the risk to go in there to try to pull him down? You know what I mean? When you getting hit by them kicks, you know, and it's like it don't make sense to go in there to get it. I mean, it ain't worth it. So I don't really see nobody going in there to take the punishment.
Yeah, same page, bro. Same page.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, with that being said, man, you got anything else?
No, that's it. That's it, baby.
All right, with that being said, we're out of here then, like last year.
Peace.